Hey guys, and welcome to 5-9 Gaming. Round 2 of the International Terminal Power is in the books, and we have both team captains here in the studio to talk about how things went down. First up, we have the current winning team captain, Talon.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Konbanwa from Japan.
Awesome, awesome. And of course, we have our global team captain, the masked Ningen.
Yo, how's it going, everybody?
It's great to have you guys here. So let's start off with the opening match of the second round, where Global suffered a huge setback when Goresh lost to Sunblade. I think both teams were counting on their Mega Whale to win each match. So this came down as a surprise to the Global fans. Ningen, you lost to Sunblade in round 1. Were you surprised by this outcome as well?
Yeah, like you said, I think going into this, both teams, like obviously Global, we have Goresh, JP, they have Nolar. I think we kind of all assumed that until that fated round comes where they face each other, that each of those guys would probably be winning all of their matches. But like you said, I did lose to Sunblade. He's got that speedrunner mentality, so he's a bit of a dark horse. I didn't really think he was going to be quite the threat that he's turned out to be. And I mean, yeah, you guys all saw it right there. He beat Goresh. So, yeah, I was definitely shocked. Team Global is reeling from that outcome. So,
Yeah, I was a bit shocked myself. And Talon, what did you think? I'm sure it goes without saying that Sunblade is a hero to the JP team right about now.
You know, I'm going to be honest with all of you. I honestly thought Goresh was going to take the win on this one. I have personally raced Goresh in the past before. I've seen his races against other people, and I'm just like, man, Goresh has it down to a T, essentially, when it comes to racing. There's obviously the RNG factor, like any race into it, but man, usually that man just he's good. He's good to go, and he's just like, you're like, oh hey, I'm on the second battle, and Gresh is like, oh yeah, I'm about done with the second battle already. You're like, what? So when I heard that Sunblade won, I was super happy, but I'm personally still shocked myself. I'm like, how? So
I guess those speedrun strats.
oh, I know, it's absolutely ridiculous. It is.
Yeah, I know the JP camp has trained quite a bit before this tournament started. So coming up onto the second match, where you two went head-to-head, captain versus captain. Talon, you took the W in an incredibly close 4-second photo finish. How do you feel about the result?
Oh man, let's just say I was definitely happy about it. It was interesting though, because when Ningen and I were racing, you know, it definitely felt like, okay, no one's taking the lead. Like, usually somebody says like, oh, by the way, I'm already onto this battle. But every time through the race, we were like, I'm about done. Where are you? I'm about done too. I'm just about to take down, you know, X opponent's health and everything like that. And then we got into the final battle. I was like, oh my God, this is getting really, really close. And then when I finished the match, I'm like, by the way, I'm done. And then you said, oh, I'm done too. And I'm like, oh boy, what is the time? And you gave your time. And I was like, oh my God, 4 seconds. I was like, jeez, could you have a closer match going on, essentially?
Yeah. And unique, and people in the comments section certainly noticed that your games seem to be running a little slower. What was going on with that?
I think it's just a byproduct of the fact that I used the emulator instead of my phone. Because when I watched it back, like, you can kind of see that we hit the button at the same time, and mine definitely takes a little bit longer to load. But I mean, obviously, we comparing the times at the very end, Talon obviously did win by 4 seconds, and it doesn't incorporate loading times into that. But I do, you know, the emulator runs a little bit slower, but that's my own fault. I use an emulator. I used to use a capture card, but mine doesn't really work properly. Having those truth chord issues, so I just use the emulator now. And yeah, it was insanely close. And as always, when watching it back, there were definitely mistakes that I made that if I had not done, I probably could have made up those 4 seconds. But yeah, there you go. That's just what happens sometimes when you race. And at the end of the day, it was insanely close. So I mean, we talked about this in the round 1 recap when we found out we were going to be racing each other in round 2, that we have both won races against each other before. And this one was very, very close as well. So yeah, I mean, I feel bad that I didn't win, of course, but it was incredibly close. So I don't feel too bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't either, man. That was a very, very good match. So definitely, you know, kudos to both of you guys and the years of experience. You guys really killed it. Everyone's been killing in these matches. So the next round that we have is the third match of round 2. We saw Tiger trying to make up for his flexing gap in round 1, but he had his work cut out for him as JP's Will Nolar stepped up to the plate. During the match, the issue of the JP exclusive units making a difference came up. Negan, what are your thoughts? Do you think it was fair for those JP exclusive units?
I mean, it's tough because obviously when we started organizing the tournament in the first place, the idea of not allowing JP units came up, but we decided not to go with it right from the start because it's kind of the whole point of having like a JP versus global. We wanted to see if how exactly the two versions would stack up against each other. And obviously in round 1, Goresh beat Jin, and Jin had a couple of JP only units. So there's been an even spread across some of the matches so far. But definitely watching that match back, because they had full power, and obviously Nolar had like LR Jiren, the Blue Boys, who are obviously out now on Global, but I think they'd recorded it just before they came out. And you're seeing, and I think, and he had the JP Golden Freezer as well. So you're, whilst Global still obviously has very powerful unit options for full power, watching it back, you're seeing rotations of Nolar's guys hitting like 5 and 6 million attack stats, and it's like, yeah, they got some pretty powerful JP exclusives over there. So I feel like in that match specifically, it probably did play a part. But then, of course, as we've already said, Nolar is Team JP's big hitter, so it was always going to be an uphill battle against him, I think. So certainly an interesting subject.
I know it. And then how about you, Talon? Do you think these units make a big enough difference to consider banning them?
I think it depends on the unit per se, because there are definitely some units where you have someone like LR Jiren who, just out of the gate, 200% attack and defense. Like, just nothing changes from there, right? That, I think, can definitely make a difference sometimes, and maybe to some extent, depending on who you're facing, or maybe depending on what type of race you're doing, maybe it does consider it. There are other units, though, I think that if it had not been Nolar and it had been like more of an average player, or even someone at my level or someone who's at a higher level of spending, where it was only no dupes or one dupe into it, I don't think it actually would have made as big of a difference, because even just 2 dupes make a difference into a unit. I don't know if you've ever taken someone like the Tech Gohan, right? The Z Sword Tech Gohan, who quote unquote transforms into Ultimate Gohan. While there's no denying that dude is an amazing blocker and everything, his damage output is not the greatest with no dupes, right? Especially when you're not getting criticals or anything like that. I mean, he's blocking no problem. But if you're relying on him to get like these critical attacks of like 4 or 5 million attacks out or something like that, and right from the get-go, you're kind of like, not really, right? You need to be either A, build him up, or B, you need to have some dupes into him. And so I think it really depends on who you're racing. And like you stated before, man, when you're facing off against Nolar, who literally rainbows everything, that's already an uphill battle as it is. I can tell you from personal experience, as someone who has raced him multiple times, it's an uphill battle where I'm going like, hey, my guy just hit 2 million attack stat. And he's like, oh, that's cute. I just had a 6 million attack stat. I'm like, oh, well, okay, that just happened then.
Yeah, exactly. Like, some of those units are incredibly powerful, and then when the person you're going up against has them 100% and probably link leveled as well, then it's
yes, yeah, and I think we can talk about that now as well, where it's like, back in the day, it's just like, okay, links, whatever, right? But now with link leveling, especially with some of the units, not all of them, but with some of them, it can definitely make a difference. So I mean, I think if I remember correctly, doesn't the tournament of power link level 10, aside from the 3 key that it gives, it also gives attack and defense now? Like, that can add up if you encounter all those links together and everything.
Yeah, link levels definitely changed the landscape of races quite a bit.
Oh, easily, 100%. Yes,
100%. It definitely has changed it. Which then we actually have our final match here, so we could definitely discuss this one, because this one was a special one. Gale, I'm letting you know now, I had your back. It was ZENO versus Gale on the future stage. Gale did really put up a valiant effort. He did, he put his heart and soul into that match, but he was unable to defeat his opponent, Talon. Once again, what are your thoughts on this match?
I will say that Gale, I think, put up a valiant effort. He did a very good job and everything. But a lot of people kind of underestimate Jin. He is he's not a whale, obviously, to the levels of Truth, Nolar, and Gresh or anything, but the man's got some cards in his deck, and he obviously knows how the game works and everything. Like me, he plays the JP version of the game, but he understands. He can read the Japanese perfectly because he's actually from Japan himself, and he understands exactly how those passive works. And so when you know that, and you've been playing the game for as long as he has, he's gonna come and surprise you. He's definitely gonna get up there. He's gonna get through the race. He's gonna get through the matches, and he's gonna do just fine. So.
Fair. And Ningen, how did you feel about that match?
Yeah, I mean, so I think we talked about this in the round 1 recap, and Gale knows himself. I always feel like I have to bring that up because I don't want it to sound like I'm being mean to him. But like he will be the first one to say that in terms of if you were going to put every single person in the tournament on like a whale scale, he's probably at the bottom. So obviously a few of these matches are definitely going to be a little bit harder for him. And as Talon said, Jin is very, very good. I've never actually raced Jin until our match eventually comes up in the tournament. So it's been interesting for me because, like Talon said, I think a lot of people didn't really know what to expect from him for races. And he did very, very well. So Gale did his best. But Jin was definitely very effective in that particular race. So no hard feelings, Gale. You tried.
Yeah, he did. He definitely did try his best. Well, things are actually looking pretty bad for Team Global. But wait, I'm getting news from the Grand Prix that we have a super special announcement coming in from ZENO himself.
All right! It is your boy, ZENO, the truth, the Super Battle Road God. And these bums on Global can't do anything right at all. So, we'll give these bums a handicap. We'll take away some of the big guns. No LR Turles for JP. No Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. No Angel Golden Frieza. Okay? Global, step it up. And we'll also do a random wild card. A little extra bullet in the chamber for Global to use in all these matchups for round 3. You can do one of the following. Pick a unit that your opponent cannot use, picking a unit that your opponent must use, or picking an item that the opponent cannot use, and then finally, changing the stage to any one of your choice. And there it is! I expect Team Global to get it in gear, because certainly no Super Battle Road Kings are gonna be on Global if you lose every match! Stay tuned to 5-9 Gaming for all of the JP wins. Good luck, Global.
Wow, what a development that was. So Ningen, aside from the obvious baiting comments directed at you, what do you think about this development and what will it mean for round 3?
He just can't help himself, can he? So, I mean, I think it's funny. We always give each other this back and forth about the whole Super Battle Road King thing, and the only thing I will say is that, man, I'm clearly living rent free in this man's head. He brings it up at every possible opportunity. So
hey, it's free advertisement for you,
yeah,
man.
it's free real
take
estate. Well, it's like, when somebody on Twitter who has like 10 followers posts a screenshot of a no item run and they tag us being like, "Hey guys, I'm coming for the crown." Like, I don't reply because that person's no threat to me, but Truth mentions me constantly, even in his actual no item run videos. So he knows I'm a threat. But the important thing is the announcement. So obviously this is very, very interesting. I mean, as much as it pains me to admit it, like we are quite far behind. So this little interesting development is certainly going to spice things up a little bit, because I agree. At the end of the day, like, even for all of us involved, like Team JP, you guys obviously want to win, but it's no fun if it's not a competition. So I do think that this is going to be making round 3 particularly spicy. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing how this plays out.
Yeah, me as well. And Talon, this obviously gives Global a big chance for a comeback. Do you think this is fair or not?
I think to an extent, kind of like Negan said, I think it does have its levels of fairness. I don't, it can maybe outright ban certain units, which again, that always comes down to are you fighting a mega whale, or are you fighting a normal player or anything like that, to, placing something, like a random character on someone else's team or something like that. But hey, you know what? If JP comes through and we still win no matter what, then I guess it just proves that the handicaps, doesn't matter. We are still victorious. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But I'm interested to see how this round 3 goes.
Yeah, I think I should have mentioned it before when we were talking about them, but like I think one thing with the stages that are still left, because obviously we're randomly determining the stages for each people's pairings, but like if you look at some of the stages that are left, one of them is Shadow Dragons. And whoever's the JP player, if they have Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and he wasn't restricted, that's... I mean, think how bad the Shadow Dragon team is for Global in comparison. So I think certain instances for specific stages, the JP units would have definitely made quite a big impact. So I think that definitely helps to level the playing field for us a little bit. So it should be quite exciting.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be exciting. And before we wrap up here, I'm going to throw this one at you guys. Is there any last minute trash talking you guys want to throw at each other before we enter round 3? I know Negan probably has a lot to say about everything that's been going on.
I mean, I'm a big fan of pro wrestling, and like this happens a lot, especially from bad guys. But like at this point, I think I should know better than to talk a whole bunch of trash when we're this far behind. So hopefully these new rules and stuff will spice things up, and we can make a comeback. Because obviously we want to win, but the end of the day, we want the tournament to be entertaining for all you guys out there. So we want to at least give it a good shot. So whilst I'm gonna remain quietly confident that we can make a comeback, I don't think it would be a good idea for me to start running my mouth at this point.
Fair enough. And Talon, any last words from you?
Actually, instead of trash talking, I'm going to do something a little bit different, and I'm going to give all the global players in this race a little piece of advice. Do not pull a tiger. Do not flex when you think when you're ahead, because guess what? It's going to come back to nip you in the butt. So just finish the race, then gloat. That's all I'm going to say.
Very cool. Very good advice. Okay, well, you heard it here first, guys. Things are going to be getting a lot more exciting in round 3, and it seems like anything could happen. Tune in and watch Team Global battle for a comeback as the International Tournament of Power continues. I am Gotcha Talks, Talon, Mass Ningen, and if you guys have not followed us on our social medias, we have a Twitter, Instagram, Discord, subreddit, Facebook, TikTok, and all that jazz. And again, you could see all these amazing battles right here on 5-9 Gaming. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Peace out.
Sayonara.